Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. This session focuses on vocabulary learning activities, that is learning outside the classroom. I hope and expect by the end of this session you would have an idea of what kind of learning activities for vocabulary teaching or learning can be used outside the classroom. Well, there is a limit to how much vocabulary can be explicitly taught in the classroom. The classroom time is very much limited. There are other skills that are to be learned and that are to be taught. There are other aspects of language that are to be dealt with and that are to be taught. So the time that is given to vocabulary and thus the input that the learners take in the form of vocabulary size is very, very limited. EFL students have a very limited exposure to the target language, that is just a few hours per week. Generally speaking, a class would be of ranging from 30 minutes to 1 hour, and the class would be not more than 2 to say 3 or 4 times per week. Not all of this time then is dedicated to vocabulary learning. As I said earlier, there are so many other aspects of grammar and of the curriculum that are to be taught. So if the vocabulary learning opportunities in the classroom are very, very little, what is the need then? The need is to encourage EFL learners to engage in a number of extracurricular activities or out of the classroom activities that they can focus on or that would help them promote the acquisition of new vocabulary. According to Nation 2001, opportunities for indirect vocabulary learning should occupy much more time in a language course than the activities that are related to direct vocabulary learning. Some of the examples of these kind of activities would include, number 1, extensive reading. Well, important role of reading in vocabulary acquisition cannot be denied. Acquiring vocabulary through reading leads to learning gains due to repeated encounters with the same word. When you are reading a particular text, there would be a very high frequency of the repetition of many words, which would enable you as a reader to retain those words. Secondly, longer texts might be better suited for vocabulary learning purposes than shorter texts for the simple reason that the same vocabulary items would be repeated frequently. Reading provides learners with the opportunities to encounter with words in their contexts of use because reading provides the context, thus helping them notice, read, analyze, and eventually learn these new items. Another important aspect of learning vocabulary outside the classroom is through modern technology. For example, the range program of as referred to by Nation and Heatley 2002 allows teachers to tactically choose texts for different courses according to the vocabulary level of their students, and by using modern IT technology, the learners can be taught a better range of and a greater frequency and size of vocabulary. Extensive viewing is another option, an approach that involves comprehensible and enjoyable oral input in the form of extensive listening. So, not only reading but also listening provides a lot of, input to the readers. So, graded readers and other text types can be read by the students can be not only read but also can be listened to in the audio forms by the listeners to help them learn vocabulary. Extensive viewing of L2 television is another such activity. By watching television, in the target language, the possibilities of learning vocabulary increase. Lin and Cianova Centoria suggest that internet television may be an ideal material for developing autonomous vocabulary lessons. There are various benefits of it. For example, number 1, learners receive extensive exposure to English. Number 2, learners have the opportunities to observe authentic, everyday, real-life English. Number 3, it facilitates contextual vocabulary acquisition by putting the language in a real, lifelike social context. Strategies that are suggested in this regard that help or guide the EFL learners include repeated viewing, training on contextual vocabulary skills, program selection that is based on real language, and the use of subtitle aids. When they're watching something on television, the subtitles that come under that, they would help them learn the vocabulary. Benefits from reading while listening activities, that is TED Talks and other similar services that are available on internet, provide a range of videos and talks that can be used as transcripts. Tom Cobb's complete lexical tutor, that is available on the link that I've given here, offers a range of electronic versions of graded and ungraded, both kind of readers, that are accompanied by recordings. So all these kind of activities can be used outside the classroom to enhance the vocabulary of L2 language learners.